So welcome to Coaching Conversations Cannoli. This is our opportunity to expose some diverse solutions and perspectives to cross-disciplinary challenges with industry leaders, innovators, and coaches. This episode, we have Geoff LoConte, good friend, coach, #GirlDad, phenomenal athlete, and he's a pro tour pickleballer, which is a little bit of a tongue twister. I do know you snowboard.
Right. Yes.
I don't know if you can ski.
I can.
But you can definitely shred.
I prefer snowboarding. I can shred.
And he's here, IRL. He's here in real life.
That's right.
Yeah, so at your home court. We are on your home court.
One of them.
That's
One
right.
of them, right?
So let's start there, Geoff. I am actually the, king of the girl dads.
The inventor of the girl dad.
You're an aspiring girl dad.
Right.
You're about 40% of your way there.
Yeah.
Right? Lily and Becca are absolutely adorable, beautiful young women. And very pleased to have them as part of our extended family friends. They are kind girls.
Right.
They are. They're kind people.
Yeah.
They have big hearts and they are very considerate.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, though. Being a girl dad is a unique role in life, certainly for someone who is coaching as a profession.
Right. And grew up with males. I was in a male-dominated family.
Not the Postal Service.
Right, no.
But more men.
We're talking, gender here. No, I think you're leading with more of a compassionate, empathetic point of view. Not to say that parents of boys don't. I think it's very much in the forefront of my mind. When I coach, it's tough to shut off the coaching switch sometimes from court to your house, but you're leading with that in mind, for me particularly.
Well, you've shared an aspect of that with me before, and there's times when you need to lead with coach, and then there's times when you need to be more like supporter.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, you're just, like, an example would be you're just listening, understanding, trying to put yourself in their shoes without going into coach role, right? Into that, I want to help you, but in that moment, trying to understand what's the best way you could help. It's parenting, coaching, improvement. It's a tricky beast, right? There's no right or wrong. There's no. I think the golden rule is less is more. You're sometimes it's funny because I'm talking, but you just have to listen more. Right.
Well, we live on the Sound, and oftentimes the water is nice and calm, and if you take the boat out, you can really skim across the water. But then you hit that one wave that just jolts you and reminds you.
And everybody's off the boat.
That's it. Yeah, the kids go flying out the back. And if you have 5, you can kind of calculate, like, do we need all 5? Maybe we leave one. Maybe
we'll
we
save
go
that
back.
one.
We've got 4 more. We're good. I do not advocate tossing any of your children out the back of a boat.
Right.
That is not something that's happened before. As you can tell, this is the first time we've actually spoken with each other. Geoff, talk a little bit about your journey, because you've got a very unique journey. I know a bit about you and your family, as well as where you are now, and that's probably something that does resonate or would resonate with folks listening.
So let's go. I'll give you the abridged version.
Start at birth.
I'll give you the abridged version. So people know we met, I would say, a decade ago, like 10 years ago, around there, right? Our kids came into this world and we met, and so our journey has been one of just joy, right? So before that, because you know me as a coach, and I shared with you a little bit just before we went on today doing this episode that in college I was in communications and in TV, and so I was going that route before I got into education and coaching. But as a kid, an athlete, you're surrounded with coaches. You're just in that world. And so let's fast forward here. Post college, I now go into the real world.
So let's take it from the question again. Start with that point. I think that'd be helpful.
So let's say, here I am. I'm a coach now. I'm going to rewind, and I've graduated college. I'm in the real world.
Being an athlete all through
Yeah, so
adolescence, having
right.
coaches
I mean,
around
again,
you.
it's an awkward thing to kind of talk about yourself. It's one of those things. So
Is it awkward for you to talk about yourself? I personally have no problem with that subject, but
I'm going to bring you up to how I became.
But you're a product of your coaches, and you're aware of this in your early 20s, no doubt.
You're aware of it to a certain extent, because you're just in that world 24/7. But I'm now out of that world at this point in my life, where I'm now in the real world, and I'm in communications, I'm in TV, and an event happens, and then you realize a shift needs to occur, right? And so with that shift, I go into education, I go into teaching, pretty much encouraged from a family member who's like, this is your path. This is who you are. You need to realize this. You know.
They saw it in you, how you were engaging with others.
Yeah, it's a family member who'd known me my whole life. So go into that route. I'm teaching. I have the summer off. I'm doing some secondary education stuff. And a buddy of mine says, look, my tennis director, he runs a sports camp, tennis, golf, basketball, and soccer. It's like heaven for an athlete. It's 24/7, totally immersed in it. And it's a sleepaway camp. So 6 weeks of just sports. First question was like, do you need to know right now? So pretty much, yeah. Okay, can I tell you tomorrow? Like, can I think about it? There's some things I gotta move around. And then, so I'm like, okay, how do I make my classroom the tennis court? It's you have one of those epiphanies, you have one of those moments.
That's when it meshed together.
Yeah, you realize like, I just putting it all together. Love coaching, love education, the learning, love being with people, and for me, education is big. So you start to go down that path of, okay, how do I make my role as actually a coach come to fruition? And again, it's one of those you have to, you're taking a risk in the sense that you're leaving everything, and then you question yourself, like, did I make the right choice? Am I making the right choice? Can I make a living doing this? And then in the coaching world, there's, under the coaching umbrella, there's, as you know, there's multiple
a lot of nooks
avenues.
and crannies.
Yeah. Can you be a professional coach, a touring coach, a college coach, a recreational coach, a club coach? So it's, and I'm going into this totally blinded because I just look at coach as one, as most people do. But there's, even as like a club coach where you're at a country club, you have a high performance client, you might have a recreational client, you might have somebody who just wants to come and get exercise. So there's multiple roles you need to play sometimes as a coach. It's not like a one size fits all. So now here I am, took the leap. That was, to give you a time frame, that was 20 years ago. So it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride as a coach.
20 years of clubs, 20 years of courts, of tournaments, of lessons, of clinics.
Yep. And building your brand, as you know.
Of marriage.
Right, throwing a house and kids. Yeah.
Expanding the house, no doubt.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
Because, part of that story is I was not going to stick around in this area. Like, we wouldn't have met because I was on my path at that time. I was going down south, warmer, where you could do, outdoor all year. I never heard of platform. You can see the platform courts behind us. Had never heard of that in my life. But that's how we stay connected now with friends and family and other pros outside. We play this sport platform.
That bridges the winter, the fall to the spring.
Yeah. So it's just an alternative for people to get together and stay outside. Just another way, like, think of like skiing or.
Sure. Talk about your most challenging client experience or player. You call them players, I would imagine, right?
Are we talking about you?
Are you talking clients? Yeah, me. No. I'd like you to share how much of a pain in the rear end I am on the court. Please do so.
No. You have situations where you have to, I think when you get into a situation, you have a challenging client, one of the things that you look at from a coach's standpoint are you aligned with where they want to be, what their purpose is.
So have you identified that?
Right. So one of the things when you're, as a coach and you step on the court, you have to take yourself out of the equation, in a sense that what's the reason that this person is here? You have to think about, are they there to learn? Are they there to improve? Are they there for exercise? Are they there to be social? Are they there to be with a team and they want to be a part of the team? Do they want to be with their friends?
Because that's going to be how you're graded, the experience that they have will go in that light, and therefore, if you work them too hard when they're just trying to socialize, that
the expectations have to align. So I equate myself to like a chameleon. You have to, yes, I want them to get something, and I want them, but I want to make sure it aligns with what they're trying to take away. And so sometimes when you have that conflict of interest, you have to address that.
But you have to be careful, because there's probably time when that could go outside the lines of the court, and now there's a personal need. They view you in a coaching capacity,
right?
And now it becomes maybe more of a personal therapy session.
Right. But that's, again, that's you take that on as a coach, and you have to be aware that you wear many hats. I've had lessons where I literally sit there and listen to somebody talk to me for 40 minutes, and you realize that they're in a place and they're a moment in their life. They're coming to you for tennis, but in that moment they view this outlet as a way for them to get something out.
So in that moment, for them, emptying their bucket, so to speak, is really more important than trying to work on the serve for another 20 minutes and just be miserable. Yeah, and you're filling that bucket, you're filling their bucket with a void that they have sometimes in their life, or you're as we say, you're getting up the mountain. Let's say for like a high performance kid, you're getting up the mountain. It's challenging. They might cry. They have a little breakdown, and you're like, look, you're at the peak. The hard work is going to be now you're at the bottom of the next mountain, and so you've got to work your way up. And there's I'm going to keep it short. Marty Fish, if you've seen it, great Netflix special. He's at the top of his mountain before he becomes a top 10 player, and he knows what he needs to do to get into a top 10, so he has to put in that hard work. How much of that is mindset?
It's challenging. Well, you have to be open to it, right? You need to have that growth mindset. He was like, I'm very happy with where I am. He was a top 40, top 50 player. So
there's a little leveling off for him.
He was totally, he had peaked. He knows it, and that's what he talks about. And you see that with even at a recreational level. I'll take a client for example. We won't name names. I say to her, look, thinking ahead of next year, like we're going to maneuver your grip a little, because you're going to need to be ready to have more of a topspin grip than the one you've had. And so now we're at that next bottom. We're at the next mountain, and we're going to work our way. It's going to be a little challenging, but as long as you're clear with like what the vision is for where that person should be and can go and how much further, and you're on the same page. Like, it's not like, hey, let's do this, and it's my way or the highway. It's like, do you want to do this?
No different in the professional realm, where there's a manage up, because the person is willing to assess themselves and identify or at least accept some of the crit that they've been given, the feedback, the developmental feedback they've been given by peers or superiors that have an interest in growing and helping them manage up. And then there are times where it's okay, you need to be managed out, because perhaps you reach that peak and it's not managed out of the sport or out of the boardroom necessarily, but managed out of growth, the growth track. And now you're at a level that you'll be staying as opposed to continuing to ascend. That's a tough recognition.
Well, so it is, and you have to, you're assessing in the moment when you throw this idea out, are they on board? Do they have that mindset? Now you've been working with this person, or it might be within 10 minutes and you just might meet this person, but you throw this idea out and you have to see body language. How are they receiving this message? My thing is like, look, I'm going to be, there's a difference between polite and kind, right? I think you know that from me very well. I am kind. I'm going to tell you the truth, because that's how we're going to move forward. If I were polite, I would just say, sure, you're good. And I would be stroking your ego in a polite way, because I'm just going to do because you're good. But I think in order to be better or to expect better, you have to be kind. That's why when you would add, the girls are kind, our daughters are kind, your daughters are kind.
That extra bit that goes toward.
There's a difference there where, like, I'm going to tell you the truth. Like, that grip's good now. Okay, like I'm going to bring it back to coaching. That grip is good, but there's better. You want to be a pro level, there's the best grip that you should have. So there's always stages, and for me, that's what I love coaching. That's the education part. You're always scaffolding. Take you and I going out on the, when we go snowboarding and skiing. I'm in that moment trying to be as good as I can be as a boarder. And we went out and I walked away with how to be a better snowboarder after that trip because I learned how to ride my edge a little more, stay on that edge, not just be so flat. It was the coolest thing. And you realize that, like, I could be complacent with where I was, but it's like, there's always that little bit of improvement that I find that brings somebody joy.
Talk a little bit about what you are seeing in society now, which is certainly reflected by the players on the court, I would imagine. I'm thinking the Great Resignation doesn't mean here's my letter of resignation, I'm out.
Right.
But certainly in the country club set, or the people who have the time and the resources to play things like paddle through the winter or tennis religiously during the week, they may be resigned to a level of wealth or success where there is no more motivation to go to that next level. Yeah. And that's something that as a coach, you see probably very inherently come out.
You see that personality, you see that character trait come out. Is it one that I'm okay with? No, but again, it's not about me, it's more about them. And you're always trying to challenge that perspective, that shift in your growth mindset, that the ability to be open to possibly one thing that could change the course of, let's say, a point, a game, or a match, that you're challenging that person to be better, to do better. And not everybody is open to it. And there's always that idea of, like, trust, right? Am I going to say and give a critique within first 5 minutes of just meeting somebody?
No, me? Maybe.
Right. No, I mean, it's like.
No, but you're very keen. I'll pay you this respect on camera. You are very keen on assessing what the receptivity level is, but also what that person needs, the degree of kindness. And there's a point where with me that I don't need kindness right now, Geoff. I need you to smack me on the side of the head. Like, I need you to drill one down the line to put me back into my mindset, or ease up because clearly Joe's already wandering and this lesson's over in 15 minutes anyway. Let's just do something different.
You couldn't have said it better. When somebody comes to, coaching in tennis, in platform, in pickle, what I do is part of the life of my clients and these people. So I have to remember that. The whole purpose of coming to me, and what I want you to take away when you come off of the court, is that you had a good time. You were happy. You had an experience that says, I want to go back on the court.
Sure, and for some it's growth because they feel a little more confident that they can play with their spouse or their friends on Tuesday nights. For others, it's they're consistently getting better because they have a money match coming up, or they have a tournament, and now they know that they are actually sharpening that axe.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I see a lot, having had almost 2 decades under the belt, coaching.
You wear a belt when you play?
Exactly.
I mean, he is the most well-dressed individual, let alone coach or a tennis player. I'm sure you do have a belt. It's designer, it's sponsored, but...
I do.
20 years under the belt of coaching, but in reality, you've been a lifelong learner, and I'm sure when you were a teen, you were imparting wisdom on others and helping them along too.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember as a kid, I was very receptive to constructive criticism because I wanted to intrinsically improve. I wanted to be the best I could in that moment, whether it was on the ball field, on the court, and I'm going to say this, even sometimes when you're like in the classroom, you get that bad grade, you're like, what did I do? Like, where did I miss it?
Right, craving for some.
Yeah, just trying to improve and strive for better. And now, especially because we talked about society, there's a lot going on in society. And I was just watching, especially the other night, and the gentleman said, we need to be better. You know, we as humans need to be better. So when somebody comes onto the court, again, it's a feeling of like joy, better. Can we improve? Just finished a platform clinic yesterday. This is great. We're having the time. I mean, we're laughing. We're having a great time. Now, on the platform court, you can see behind us, it's short. It's about the third of the size of a tennis court. So when a lob comes up that you know is going out, now I know from experience, but these ladies who are beginners don't know, and you say to them, let it go. And they realize, I would say probably 10 minutes later, they let the ball go, finally, and there's this moment of joy that just explodes, right? They internally heard that voice, they applied what you're working on, you know, like verbally, you know, you're giving them feedback, visually, you're showing them.
Sure. Well, you're also getting at the joy of restraint in that moment versus the joy of swinging at it.
The
discipline that comes along with it.
I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth, I set the bed. The discipline of these habits, right? Because it's a habit. And in that moment, you see that player who has just applied something and taken, okay, I was good, now I'm better because of this. For me, that feedback is like the best. It's a home run.
Yeah, to see that live, especially after devoting so much time.
Yeah.
That's remarkable, Geoff.
Yeah.
The most impressive person that you've come across on the court?
Oh, a lot of them. Tough to narrow it down. You want like a client? Or
not held. As we used to say on the trading floor, you're not held. So whatever you come back with, I'm okay with.
All right, I'm gonna do a throwback.
Okay.
This was when I was a kid. I would go live with my mom and my brother to the Volvo Open at the time. So now it's the Southern and Southern Open, whatever it's called. I think it's in Cincinnati. It's part of the US Open Series. The tournament's been all over. So image is everything, baby.
Wow.
I see Andre Agassi.
Yeah.
What impressed me, he knew his strengths. He knew exactly what his game style was going to be and how he could use that to be successful and win. And that was, to me, as I grew up idolizing Pete Sampras and saying, okay, well, he's like an all-quarter, he can serve and volley, and he can do this and that. Agassi rarely got to the net. He was the complete opposite. Had the best return, not a big serve, but then a big forehand. So and when you're like, I wasn't in the coaching frame of mind as a kid. I was just observing.
Sure, but those are the early stages of
how did he do it?
Yeah.
How was he successful? How was he winning? Wow, he's so good. He's not even tall. But he was.
He's got long hair.
He's got these jeans that are distracting. These jeans shorts.
Multiple layers.
A mullet that's down to his butt, like.
An 80s fashion icon, no doubt.
It was so impressive to see, okay, his speed. And again, now you realize, like, as a kid, you're like, just like, holy cow, he's fast. But you realize how he used that to his advantage to get his. I mean, it was so cool to watch.
That's great. So Agassi.
Yeah.
So we move to the point of the program we call the final stretch. And what I like to do there is hammer through. So these are quick responses, whatever comes to mind, that's it. You don't even need to be a complete sentence.
I need a cannoli for this.
That's it. No, you got to earn the cannoli, my friend. It's Coaching Conversations and cannoli, okay? It's not like cannoli or coaching a little bit, some cannoli, and then some conversation, some more cannoli. No. Coaching conversation and then the cannoli. So wait your turn, pal. So here we go. We got 12 of them. We're coming right at you.
Let's go. Rapid fire.
First paid job.
What?
First paid job. First job you had that paid you.
Oh, busboy.
Okay.
Along with caddy.
And caddying. What would you tell your 20-year-old self right now?
Start saving.
Who is or are your rocks?
Yeah, my wife. Yeah.
Mara.
Oh, you're saying
She's
like
solid.
Metaphorically, right?
I'm just asking a question you're saying. Yeah. Mara, perfect. Good answer. Don't change it. When's your anniversary again? Just kidding. I would never do that to somebody on camera. How will your 80-year-old self, I know you're a few years away, but how will your 80-year-old self describe your life? You've moved to shuffleboard at this point in time now.
Exactly,
you can't lift the
right?
racket, so.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm gonna play this at your 80th birthday, so make it good.
Wow. That's a tough. One of in the season of Thanksgiving and the holiday giving. That's my legacy.
It's giving.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It's weird to say.
That's
but
enough.
Yeah.
All right. $10,000 must be invested. It's my show, pal. $10,000 must be invested. Where do you put it?
Does it all have to go in one place?
And if you say new paddles, you just sold me two. Do not tell me I'm buying more paddles.
New pickleball court in my house.
There you go. I like that. Probably a half court or a quarter court at that price. All-time favorite meal?
Sushi.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Current playlist or book or podcast that you're listening to?
Holiday favorites.
Love you.
I know.
Isn't he a mensch? What was the last live concert, show, or event that you attended?
Tournament count?
Sure.
Because it's a funny because of where we are now. Like we're not going.
That's part of the question. Yeah.
We're not really going to concerts now.
No.
But down in Hilton Head.
The last one was in Hilton Head.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Most influential business read, something that you've read, you refer back to, you suggest it to others perhaps?
Yeah. Well, there's always a couple.
One's fine.
Okay. Perfect Practice.
Perfect Practice. Do you remember who wrote it?
No, off the top of my head, no.
Perfect Practice, though? No. Okay. Was it a listen?
Doug Lemov. Yes, sorry.
There you
Doug
go.
Lemov. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I came across him in the education and graduate school.
Oh,
yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And so you've really harkened back to it. That's a keeper.
Yeah, it's more relevant now because it's education as well as coaching. It's the idea of coaching.
Love it. Very good. Favorite app on your phone?
Not the most used. Favorite app. Favorite. Word swag. I like word swag. Yeah.
Word swag, folks.
Combining words with pictures and. Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
Someone you want to thank?
You.
Ah, you're welcome. Someone you
Dead
want to,
serious.
Someone you want to apologize to?
You. Sorry for having me. Thank you for having me. Sorry to have me.
End on the high note. Favorite quote or inspiration?
Disney. Walt Disney is just so inspiring.
So all around. Yeah. The Disney
transcended.
Content. Yeah. I know you, Mara, and the girls have all in many ways.
But just
what
he did.
Imagination.
He had a vision.
Walt.
He dreamed. He dared. He inspired.
Wow. All around.
And a legacy, his life will. He's
That's solid, brother.
Yeah.
I love it. Nice.
So fun.
Nice.
Where's that
so
going?
It's Coaching Conversations and Cannoli. And at the request of the manufacturer, the wonderful Boiano Bakery right in town down on Mamaroneck Avenue.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Very excited to be part of this part of sponsorship for the Gunnol, as we've said in
now,
in prior
do you
edition.
frequent them a lot?
I go there quite a bit. I do.
Yeah.
They bake some bread. They make some nice pastry.
Yeah.
As you can see.
Yeah, that's fresh.
So my friend.
Are we sharing one?
Enjoy. Well, no, you can have your own. You don't have to share.
Well, I feel like there's one, for every kid of yours.
If you touch it, you take it. If you touch it, there's
not
enough for my kids. There's only 6.
Am I taking away?
You take one.
All right.
I take one, and then you take the box home. That's the way this works.
All right.
Let me get that for you.
Take that here. This has been fun. I appreciate you having me on.
No doubt, brother. No doubt.
All right.
And now everybody watches us get powdered sugar all over us.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
The beauty of getting this in the morning.
It's a funny time to have a sweet treat like this.
Oh, but isn't it good?
Do you like
I don't indulge very often.
It's delicious.
I look like I do, but I don't indulge very often.
Tell me about this whole cupping thing. Like, what was going on with that?
The shoulder and the neck. I have like a pinch, long time. I've had a pinch situation that crops up.
Yeah.
I've gone to the bone crusher, as I call him, the chiropractor, who flops me around like a fish on a cutting board, and then and I also go for the acupuncture, and the needles work.
Yeah.
The needles work. So cupping is these little metal glass bulbs, and he lights a little piece of paper inside that then sucks the air out, which immediately putting it on your skin creates a suction, and then draws fresh blood, like a ton of it, to the surface. It also helps expel the toxins and just rejuvenate that area, especially after throwing needles into me. It's like a dozen on me this last
I was going
round.
to say, because like looking at that photo, you did quite a few. Mm-hmm. And is he?
You thought I did it wrong? Is Joe doing cupping at home again? He's trying to do this.
Did you miss the area?
Joe, you did. Yeah, I think you were a little off center. It was more on the right than the left. Well, it's the right neck and shoulder.
Maria's like, honey, you're fine. You're good. You'll be okay.
Exactly.
No, so because the reason I ask is because typically there's a stress that occurs, and as an athlete or a weekend warrior, it's cupping is not in the realm of most people's thoughts when they're like, I'm going to get a massage, I'm going to go do chiropractor work, I'm going to go do yoga. But cupping is very niche.
Yes.
Where did it come? How did you know about that?
How did it introduce in my world? Asthma. So I went for acupuncture, and I did some asthma there, and then he did some breathing. He did some cupping along the where the lungs would situate in the lower back.
Okay.
But even better, I went again for acupuncture on a ski trip when I was cutting between the trees, as we do.
We know how this story goes.
As we do. And no, actually, I didn't hit the tree. What I did was I high-fived the tree.
Right.
I high-fived the tree. I thought he was going to give a little, and he didn't. And so the high five went into like a complete, shoulder push, and I had quite a bit of pain. I thought I might have separated the shoulder.
Yeah.
I finished the trip. One more day of skiing.
Of course.
And then when I came home, I was in quite a significant amount of pain. Not interested in going the traditional route just yet. I let it rest for a few days, went for acupuncture. He needled me up, he gave me some exercises, and then he started the cupping thing. And I think it was about 2 months, every other week, so about 6 or so sessions. Yeah. And I was completely healed.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So great early experience, certainly helps perpetuate a reliance on it, or at least a tendency to go back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I trust the practitioner more than my own assessment. When I get into that groove and I feel comfortable with that coach, he's now coaching me through.
Totally, he's assessing what your body needs.
Sure.
And I love that, because there's multiple, there's different ways to heal your body, right? Something as simple as like an Epsom salt bath, but then there's cupping is so cool. And you did it right here in Larchmont?
Right here in Larchmont, Larchmont Wellness, Dr. Wu, Henry Wu.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, because I've been looking, I mean, that's cool. It's great, I might check him out. Call you.
That's it. So the cannoli were delicious. Jeff, thank you so much, brother. Fantastic to connect with you. Look for us again on Coaching Conversations in Cannoli. My good friend Geoff LoConte. Where can we find you? I know Instagram, on the gram.
Yeah, on the gram.
Geoff LoConte Tennis.
Yes.
And that's Geoff LoConte Tennis.
Yep.
Where else?
That's really it. I have other platforms, but I don't use really them that much as I do. That's my page where I try to inspire, try to leave my legacy on and off the court, show you a piece of my life as a coach. And
also your life as an upstanding girl dad, as a great husband, as a good community member, citizen of the community.
I try. I don't do anything for the community, so just as
you're in it. You're in it. Your vibe in the community is enough, Jeff. How much can they take from you? I mean, you just keep giving and giving.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's it.
Love you like a brother. Thanks so much.
Yes. Thank you.